Hello and welcome to our Awaken Your Vision workshop. It's great to see you all. Welcome. Before we jump into this, I want to invite you to share the link with someone, invite someone to join us and be part of this amazing program. So I'll just give you a quick minute to do that as we get ready to jump straight into today's program. I am your host, Stephanie Fletcher-Lartey. I am a public health epidemiologist, research and evaluation professional. I'm also a certified dream builder coach through the Brave Thinking Institute. I am the director of a retail professional consulting and coaching firm. And on top of that, I am a missionary author, author of 3 books. I'm a singer, songwriter, a wife, a mother, and many more hats that I wear. Let me take time to turn up. And as we come together, I want to say thank you for joining me for this live session. And I'm looking forward to spending the next hour and a half or so with you. So I do hope you are ready for a really engaging session. And once again, let me say welcome to this time together. Now, if you've never been to one of these vision workshops before, once again, a big and warm welcome to you. Our vision workshops are quite interactive. I do quite a bit of teaching, but there is time for you to journal, to write down, and apply what we are teaching to your own life. So I'm going to give you just 1 minute for you to fetch your notepad and your pen and to get ready for us to hit the ground running. So I'm going to play a little bit of music in the background and give you a moment to grab your notepad, grab a cup of water, and invite a friend to join us. All right. So with that, I'm going to give you back the music for another minute or so. I'm going to make sure that all the distractions, close the window, close the front door, and we come right back in 1 minute. Okay, welcome once again. All right, I hope we've got that notebook and we are ready to go. All right, so with that, I am going to be sharing my screen as we get ready to jump into today's session. All right, so please bear with me as we're going to get there. In the meantime, invite a friend, invite someone to join us online as we get ready for today. All right, let's get ready for a great time together. And remember, you can invite someone to join us. It will be great to have family, and friends. One of the reasons why we do these vision workshops is to help us so that at the beginning of the year, especially, it's so important that we set our intention, that we are strategically positioned for the year ahead, and that we are able to chart our course and make sure that we don't get left behind in what's happening, you know, what's happening in the world around us. So, once again, a very warm welcome to our vision workshop as we get ready. I'm very happy and grateful to see you. I also want to acknowledge, those who are supporting in the background. All right. So let me quickly share a story with you. And I'd love to ask you to share a quick thumbs up or give me a hello as you come on, please say hello in the chat so we can see who's online. So we make sure that we are serving you. All right. Number two, please give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen properly. Can you see the screen that I'm sharing? Can you hear me okay? Let's have a thumbs up. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So, once upon a time, in a quaint village lived an old woman. She was a weaver, known for her extraordinary cloth. The fabric she crafted were not only beautiful, but also seemed to possess a life of their own. People from all around the world would come and marvel at her work and purchase her beautiful woven fabrics. And many of them were really interested in her secrets. So one day, a young woman was among those who visited the weaver. She too was longing to learn the craft. Please, she said to the old weaver, teach me how to create a cloth just like the ones you create. The weaver smiled, sensing the young woman's passion. She shared, the secret lies not in the loom or the thread, but in the vision of the cloth you wish to create. You see, each piece has it begins with a vision, a picture in your mind of what it will become. This vision must align your hands and guide every thread, ensuring they come together in perfect harmony to create what you saw in your mind's eye. So, inspired by this, the young woman asked her, how do I discover this vision? Then the weaver explained, it begins with knowing your purpose and passions. When you understand these, you can craft a vision so compelling, it propels you forward, weaving not just the cloth, but the very fabric of your dream. So the young woman left, her heart filled with purpose. As she practiced her own craft, she began to create threads. She began to imagine what she would love her threads to look like. And so she created the threads and patterns. And eventually she created a powerful tapestry of life woven with intention, passion, and inspiration, inspiring others to do the same. Now, this story emphasized the importance of having a clear vision. Yes, you must have a clear vision in order to succeed in life. And today we're going to be exploring some of the keys you need to craft a bold vision that is in alignment with your life's purpose and to create a life that you would absolutely love. Now, if you are ready to do this, I want you to type bold vision in the chat as we go on our journey together. Bold vision. Let me see that in the chat. All right. Now, if you're online or in the studio, please remember this is an interactive session. Please type in the chat when we ask you to, so we know you are still with us. All right. Now, let me start by asking you a question. How many of you have a goal you would love to achieve? How many of you would love to achieve a goal in 2026? Right? Well, if you have something that you would love to achieve, type me a big yes or goal in the chat. right? Thank you. I can see your chat, right? If there are some areas in your life you would like to see some improvements in, then you are in the right place. Absolutely. Now, my intention for today is to share with you some powerful tools to improve your results, the results that you are getting in different domains in your life. And by the time we leave here today, you will be empowered with three keys to help you achieve your goals. You'll be able to gain greater clarity on your goals and your dreams. You will feel even more confident in your ability to achieve those goals and your dreams, as well as we are going to give you a formula for raising your awareness, stories and quality questions, and so on. If you are ready for this, I want to hear you say, yes, I'm ready. All right. Type that in the chat for me. All right. Wonderful. Because our goal here today is to help you to move from where you're at to getting new results. Awesome. So let me ask you another question. All right. Have you ever achieved a goal or a dream? Have you ever done anything that you have been so proud of that you have achieved something? Yes? Well, when you first set that goal, didn't you know, you didn't know how you were going to achieve it, right? Well, great. I want to thank you for playing full out today because I want you to recall that time when you succeeded at achieving a goal or a task. And I want you to remember, how did that make you feel? How did you feel when you achieved your goal? What was that feeling like? Were you happy? Yeah, absolutely. You see, because you have already done something, you've already achieved something, it's a sign to tell you that we are all capable. We are all capable of more than we already know. So if you were able to achieve something in the past, it means you are able of far more. As my mentor Mary always said, when God, we are living spirits having a human experience. You see, when God created us, when God created man, he breathed into us the breath of life. And the Bible says that man became a living soul, which means that God breathed his own breath into us, which gave us not just abilities, but it gave us capacity to co create with him. There is a power that is breathing us, and it means that we have full capacity to create a life that we would absolutely love. You see, that power that is breathing you is the one that woke you up this morning. And so we have that ability to create the life we would love to live. So it means that we are still connected to this power. But oftentimes we forget this. And what happens when we experience some challenges? We forget that we had a win some time ago. But it's a human tendency that when we experience challenges, we shrink back and sometimes we give up. But sometimes our goals and our dreams are actually born out of those challenges, right? And as we go through today's session, I will share some of my own experiences. You see, we live in the universe that speaks to us through two growth signals, right? It speaks to us through our longing and our discontent. We experience this feeling of longing when we are desiring something that we haven't yet created or we haven't yet achieved, right? And sometimes we feel this discontent when the current circumstances or the results we are getting are what we are not happy with them, right? And so life speaks to us through these two signals, whether through the longing or the discontent. Do you get what I'm saying today? If you do, please just type a yes in the chat if this resonates with you. So, whether it's the pain of the problem that you are going through right now or a burning desire for something more, these two energies are always essential and they're always there as symbols directing us to become more aligned with our purpose and for creating a new result in our lives. Let me share a recent time in my life when this longing and this discontent inspired me to make a change. I really wanted to buy a house, and I really wanted to get a house with a certain amount of rooms and so on. But as you may well understand, in the last couple of years, the prices for housing was just kept going up. In Australia, where I live, the housing prices since the pandemic has just continued to go up, 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 up. In fact, in the area that I currently live, housing prices have almost close to doubled. So this is the kind of context I'm talking about. So I had saved up some money based on the old property market values, and as time went by, my money was almost useless to buy in the area that I wanted to, to purchase a house. And so I could not seem to make the numbers balance in my head based on what I wanted and what the market was demanding, right? And so what happens is that I kept halting between two opinions. I kept going back and forth because I believe that I had not really had a vision for what I wanted. Now, in Proverbs 29 and verse 18, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So, what I really wanted was a vision that was far greater than the fact that the property market was more, was increasing constantly, and that the money I had did not seem to be able to purchase something in that area where I was living at the time. My vision needed to be one that was beyond my circumstances or the conditions that could derail me from what I absolutely would love to have, right? And so today, I will be sharing with you some of the principles or the keys that will help you if you are in similar situation where you are experiencing a longing or discontent. And I will tell you more about the rest of my story later on. The principles I'm going to share with you today are from a program that I'm certified to teach called the Dream Builder Transformation Program. There are 10 principles altogether that helps to skyrocket your success if you apply them in your life. However, we only have time today for 3 of these principles. And so I'm going to do my best to give you as much as I possibly can in the time we have together 3 principles which are keys to help you mastering your results. I hope you are ready and that notepad and your pen is ready because we are going to go straight into it. All right. If you are still with me, let me see you say ready in the chat. Okay. Now, now, the first thing I want you to know is that every day when we wake up, we are creating results. As long as you still have life, as long as that breath still is blowing through you, as long as you have life, you are going to create some results. Now, you can wake up every day and just face life just the same way you did yesterday. That is called living life by default. That means you just allow the day to just happen. You wake up and you just put one foot in front of the other. This is really what we call life by default. People who live like this, their lives are directed by comfortable things. The things that people typically do. You wake up, you have breakfast, you do the routine hygiene, you go to work, you do the routine, and you come back and do the same thing every day, right? In fact, most people in life spend more time planning for a family vacation than they actually spend planning their actual lives that really matter. Now, on the other hand, there are a few people who, and these are usually the very highly successful people, who create life by design. This means they don't just wake up and go through the motions. They set clear intention for what they would love to do, what they would love to achieve, and they consciously create what they want in life. Now, if you are one of those people who would love to experience a life that is well, carefully, intentionally designed, then you are at the right place today. You see, we create life in four main domains, and you may hear different schools of thought from different people. I am focusing on four domains. That could be your health and your well being domain, love and relationships, your vocation, and the vocation is the area where you show up in terms of using your gifts and your talents. Then you also have the area that we call time and money freedom. You are having results in all of these areas in your life right now as we speak, whether you are living by default or by design. But here's the good news: no matter what the results you are having, no matter how big of a challenge it may feel like to you, no matter how long an old result has been showing up over and over again, here is the good news: you have absolute power to create the results that you would love to have in your life. Yes, let me say that again. The results you are getting in these areas of your life are a perfect reflection of your awareness in those areas, but you absolutely have the power to create the results that you would like in any area of your life. All right? So you might be asking, well, how does that work? Well, let me expand your awareness by studying the pattern that create our results. All right? Now, I hope you have your notebook with you because I'm going to share something with you. I learned this formula some time ago and it made so much sense to me. And I didn't understand this was a formula until I learned this one. You see, our thoughts cause our feelings. Feelings produce actions, and actions translate into results. You know this. When you think joyful thoughts, what happens? How do you feel? Yeah? When you are thinking joyful thoughts, what kind of feeling do you get? Yes, you feel happy. Now, if you are feeling scary thoughts or you feel afraid, yes, your heart begins to beat faster. So those thoughts, they affect your psychology. They affect your physiology. That means the way your body functions. Now, by universal law, your feelings are usually expressed through actions. Or somebody may say the feeling tone that is produced by the thoughts are reflected in the actions that follow. Now, whatever action you take, let's say if you're feeling happy about something, as a mom, if I'm feeling happy and one of my children approach me at that time when I'm super happy and things are, hunky dory, if they come to me at that time and ask for something, it's usually the best time because they will almost automatically get it because I'm in a good mood. And our children, they play on that, right? Okay. Now, if I'm in a bad mood and they approach me, even if normally I would have maybe done what they were asking for, maybe I might say no just because I'm in a bad mood, right? It's a human thing, all right? So remember, our actions contribute to our results. And the result is the product of that started off firstly with a thought. The thought and the results never lie. If you think negatively, if you think with a limited mindset, then the outcomes that are produced as results, they will always be related to the initial thought. All right? So remember, the results never lie. So let's apply these concepts of the results formula and notice what you are noticing to your life. Let's do a life assessment. As I make these statements, I want you to make a note of what feels true to you. Now, not everything that I'm sharing here right now is going to apply to you, right? So I wanted to think of, as I'm sharing, which of these areas may relate to you individually, and you can focus on that part as we go through today's session. All right? Can I have a thumbs up if you understand what I'm saying? All right. Great. Thank you so much. Now, you may be a person who doesn't know what your dream is. You just know that there is something more that you desire. You have a lot of dreams, maybe, right? Or maybe it's one area of your life that you have a longing to see your life grow or to become more fulfilled or satisfied. But you don't know whether to choose this pathway or another pathway. And like me, some of you may have multiple areas where you are dreaming in and you don't know which part to start with. All right? The important thing for you to know here is every one of us has a dream inside of us somewhere, even if we are still endeavoring to find it or achieve it. So the exercise we are about to do is to design, is to help you get in touch with that part of you that has a dream. So the exercise we're going to go through now, is really to help you to tap into that part of you where your dream is. And we are going to once again look at results in 4 domains of life. Remember, health and well-being, love and relationship, your vocation or your career or business, and your time and money freedom. So if you are ready, once again, please type ready in the chat, and we are going to look at the first domain, right? Is your health and well-being. Now, do you feel stuck in your ability to transform your health? Or you have relatively good health? You may not have any symptoms or you may not be diagnosed with anything, but you feel like you would love more vitality or vibrantness or awareness, in aliveness in the way you feel. All right? On a scale of 1 to 5, I would love for you to notice how fulfilled you are feeling in the area of your health and well-being. Now, number 1 means you are feeling absolute meh, right? You're not fulfilled, you're dissatisfied. 5 means you're completely satisfied and you are absolutely happy with that area, with your health and your well-being. So from 1 to 5, give yourself a score, put it beside health and well-being. All right? Now, we are going to move to the next section, which is your love and relationship. Now, let's consider the results in your love and relationship domain, right? Are you feeling a longing to have a deep, fun-filled, passionate relationship with your partner? Somebody who loves you, somebody who cares for you, somebody who gets you and understands, somebody who celebrates you, somebody who believes in your dream and will help you to become the best version of yourself? Or maybe this is not the issue. Maybe you would love to deepen your or expand your and have a more fun-filled relationship with some existing relationships in your life. That could be a parent, a child, or a sibling, or it could be those people at your workplace. If this is you, I want you to once again look at the results how fulfilled you are feeling in this domain, and give yourself a score from 1 to 5. 1 being unfulfilled and 5 mean satisfied or fulfilled. Put this score beside love and relationship. Now, the next domain we are going to look at is your vocation domain. Remember, the vocation domain is the area where you share your creative expression, whether that is through the form of a career or business or the way in which you show up in the world. So you may be feeling stuck on the job. Maybe you have a job you don't like. Maybe you actually like your job, but you would love to work less hours. Or you want to do something new that helps you to express yourself more, right? Maybe you're thinking, I would love to have a promotion. I've been doing this for so many years and I feel so dissatisfied in this area of my life. Once again, give yourself a score from 1 to 5 in this domain of your life. And finally, let's consider the results you are experiencing in the area of your financial freedom, your time and money freedom. Now, for this area, are you feeling out of balance financially? Or are you feeling out of balance with your time? Maybe you would like to have more time to enjoy the money or the wealth you have gathered. Or you maybe would love to have more wealth to enjoy the time you have. Or you need both. You would love to be able to balance up your time and your money because you neither have the money nor the time to really be satisfied. Maybe you would love to travel some more, spend more time with your loved ones, have more deep, meaningful, you know, engagement. Maybe you'd love to contribute, volunteer for charity. Maybe you'd love to sponsor something. You just want more harmony in this area. Well, if that's you, please, once again, score this area from 1 to 5, with 1 being unfulfilled and 5 means you really would love to be satisfied. I hope we're all together. We're all here. Wonderful. Now, as we consider each of the domains of our life and you look at your current results, the results that you have given yourself, a rating on the scale of 1 to 5 for each area, I want you to pay attention to your thoughts around the results. So as you look at the results you have put down, how are you feeling about this? Well, this is not a place for you to be judging yourself or blaming yourself. Your responses are not good or bad, and they're not right or wrong. Your responses are what they are. This is just a symbol of saying, this is where I am in my life right now. What you are doing is you are paying attention to the current results that you're having in your life. You are paying attention and noticing the areas of your life where you would like to have more of, or in other words, you may be experiencing a longing or a discontent, right? So, whatever those results are up until now, you absolutely have the power within you from this moment forward to change those results. Can I say that again? You have the power from now on to change the results you are experiencing in your life for the results that you would love. All right? And so, if you are willing, I want you to look at the results and I want you to circle from the 4 different domains that we shared on, which of that domain you are experiencing the one with the lowest number, the one that you've given the lowest number out of 5. All right? It may not just be one domain. It could be more than one domains that you've marked, you know, low. So if you've given yourself anything from 3 and under, you can circle all of those. Now, the results that you have gotten is typically where you are noticing the longing and discontent. That's what that means in this area of my life. So, for example, if I put um, a 2 for my health and well being, what this is saying to me is that in this area of my life, I am not fully satisfied. I am not feeling fulfilled. I desire to have more, or you may be longing to experience that vitality and that aliveness. Or it could be that based on what is happening in this area of your life, you are not contented, you are unhappy with it, and you would love to see more. So these 2 signals, as I mentioned earlier, they are in our mind telling us that we actually want to achieve more in these particular areas. So once again, you could say, identify the area that you want to improve the most in, which would be the area that you've given the lowest score, right? You can put that, this is the area that you would love to have the most improvement in. The important thing too is also to think about what is it costing you to remain where you are at in that area. I'll, yes, and I'll give you a minute to just write down what is going through your mind around this area that you have given the low score. All right. So I'm going to give you a minute. I'll put on a little bit of music in the background for you as you write down your thoughts. All right. Let us take a pause there for now as we continue. So I hope you were able to write a few thoughts. It's really important that we acknowledge where we are at. And once again, I'd love to say this is not about judgment. This is truly, really around you noticing and acknowledging, becoming more aware about exactly where you're at and what's happening in this particular area of your life. All right? Wonderful. So, one of the other things that is really important to say at this stage is around the cost. As I shared with you earlier, that I wanted some peace of mind. I wanted stability. I wanted to, as a mature woman, I wanted to be able to, invest in something that was of long-term value. Many people around me, God blesses them with things and they are more inclined into buying a flashy, car to show off. But for me, I think it's really important to me to have something that I can leave for my children, a legacy. So wanting to purchase a house was something that was super important to me. And so it was costing me a lot of peace of mind around what will happen? What if something happens to me? What am I leaving for my children? How will my children be able to have something for them to move forward in life? Remember, the Bible says, you know, a blessed person, the righteous, leaves an inheritance for their children. And that was going through my mind and it was causing me some discomfort. So that desire to want to purchase property was aligned with that and it was really stressing me out. All right. Now, we'll come back to some of this later on as we continue. It's really important for us to know, and I want to make this very clear. In Jeremiah 29 and verse 11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope." Right? This is good news. This is actually good news. Regardless of how you feel about your life, God's plans for us is that we all prosper. This is what He says. He wants us to prosper. And so, with you desiring more in your life, with you desiring to see better results, different results, this is God's plan for you. Remember, every one of us has a dream inside of us somewhere, and that is a life seeking to grow in us. And so, we must be willing to press in and to acknowledge that call from that deeper side of us that wants to grow, that wants to become a better version of ourselves. And so, with that, this brings us to our very first key, which is designing your dream. All right. So, put key number one, designing your dream. Right. If you are still with me, drop a number one in the chat. When you design your dream, it's important that you are specific about what you want. Right. This brings us to what we speak to of clarity. Designing your dream is about clarity, right? You must know what you want. Clarity is power. Clarity is power. If you want to see improvement in your health and well being, don't just say, I want to be healthy. You have to imagine for you, what does healthy look like? Yes? If you want to have improvement in your love and relationship, what does that mean? What does that look like? Yes, I want my love life to improve. What does improvement look like in your love life? All right. If last year I decided that I wanted to purchase a new car. But to be honest, I had spent so much time thinking about the old car that I hadn't really thought exactly about what kind of new car that I genuinely want. Now, when I purchased the other car 9 years earlier, at that time I was expectant with my baby. So for me, I wanted to get a car that would be able to fit the entire family and the new baby. So I was really clear about, that I didn't want, I had a hatchback at the time. I wanted to buy an SUV that had space. My family was moving to six, so I needed at least 6 seats in the car and so on. So when I went to the car mart to purchase the car, I had an idea. The car has to be able to hold at least 6 people, fit a baby car seat, and still have space, right? So when went to purchase the car, I knew these were the specifications I need. I didn't really know exactly what model of car I wanted, but I knew that whatever the model was, it had to fit those specific guidelines. It has to fit 6 people. The seat should be wide enough to fit a baby car seat, and I needed I needed space in the boot or in the trunk, regardless whether you're American or British, right? So when I went to the car mart, I checked out a few. I checked out Toyota, Nissan, and some of the regular brands that I'm aware of. But there was this car mart that was close to my house, and it was an Australian brand, and I'd heard people talk about the car. So I went to the car mart, even though they sold other brands. When I got there, I began to be really clear in my mind. I knew what I needed inside the car, but what would I need outside? And then I thought my favorite color is blue. When I went to the car mart, I'm thinking, what am I going to look for? Now, the car I was driving before that, I had a very beautiful little Peugeot. It was, you know, a beautiful car at the time. That was before the family joined me. And it was so good. And it had a sunroof, and I absolutely loved my sunroof in the car. So in my heart, I thought it would be nice to get back a sunroof. My car should be able to give me a map that I can navigate and play my music. I'm a music person. So when I went to the car mart, this was the vision for the car I needed. So when I got in there and they asked me, what would you like? I described the car I needed. And the person who was assisting me took me into the lot, and they took me to a midnight blue SUV. It had everything I needed. It even had the sunroof. And this one was a brand new limited edition that had a this was the first series of cars that was coming in at that time, that you could use your phone and CarPlay to use the map on your phone to navigate. And so I got exactly, what I needed. So when you're preparing your vision statement, it's very important that you have clarity. What if I'd gone to the car mart and said, I need a 6-seater, but I didn't mention the other stuff about the sunroof and so on? There were so many SUVs that day at the car mart that had everything I needed, but some of them did not have, most of them. This was one of the few cars, brands, and the type, the model that actually had a sunroof and was able to actually give me navigation. All right? So be very clear on what you want your life to look like, what you want your life to feel like, when you are writing down your dreams. Now, if you are struggling to write down what you would love, what your vision is, maybe you could ask yourself, what would I really love more of? What would I love more of? Sorry, guys, just give me a moment. Um, yes. So, what would you love? What would you love more of? And maybe you could have a symbol of what that more could look like. Maybe ask yourself, what what has God been calling me to do? What have you been led to do? What have you been prompting to do that you've been hesitating? What do you, and you can ask God, would you love to accomplish in my life? All right. So the big question is, what would you love? Let's run along. Now, thinking about your life, I would love for you to think with me. Maybe if you want to close your eyes or just really think. In the next 3 years, imagine 3 years have passed and we are coming back together. 3 years to share your testimony. And you are meeting with me after 3 years and you want to share with me the amazing testimony of how your life has changed. I would love for you to write what it is that you are doing, who you have become, what impact you are making. Maybe there might be other people doing it with you. I want you to write that down, but I want you to start off with gratitude. Start by writing, I am so happy and grateful now that. And as you write this, right, I want you to begin to be very clear based on the various domains of the life. Maybe you can choose one domain where you have experienced that, dissatisfaction or the longing, and you work on that. And you write down what you would love more of. Write it in the present tense. Make sure you are writing this in the present tense and you are describing very clearly. Don't just say, I want to be healthy or I want to be married. Write down what your healthy life looks like in practical terms. Write down what that married life looks like, what that enjoyable relationship or that healthy life looks like, or what your financial situation looks like in clear terms. All right. So with that, here's some music and we'll come back together in 3 minutes time. We just have 30 seconds more. Wonderful, wonderful, everyone. Welcome back. All right, great. Now, if you have been able to come up with something, a vision for your life, written something in the chat, if you've been able to write something in your journal, please type vision in the chat for me so I know that you've been able to write something. Now, since we're not together in the same room, I won't ask you to share your vision. But one last thing I would love to ask you to do is at the end of it, at the end of your statement that you have written, I want you to write this statement, this or something even better still, right? These are something even greater still. And what this means is it's a very powerful signal that what you have just expressed is what is in your awareness, right? And you are handing the vision back to God, saying, God, this is what I've written, but I'm trusting that you have something greater for me. So I'm giving this one to you, but if you have something better, something more powerful than this, I am holding it with an open hand to receive what you have in store for me, right? So hear this. Remember that dream house I mentioned that I went in search of it? An opportunity ended up coming up for me after I realized that I needed to be very clear about what I was seeking for that dream house. So I ended up praying about it and I became aware of, you know what, I really wanted an investment property. And not shortly after that, someone approached me about a great offer. Not only was this um, s- in keeping with what I was looking for, but the price was perfect. So you see, when you are really clear about what you want, those plans that God has for you, they always come together. All right? So when things come up for you, it means that you have awareness and focus. And so you know where you are going. So congratulations. You've just created your dream. Now, let me tell you why that first step is so important. Remember that everything that you see around you was created twice. Yes, everything you've seen around you was first created as a thought. This computer that we are speaking on, or the phone that you might be engaging in this workshop on, it was first a thought. I am old enough to remember when we used to have to walk for miles to the phone box and they had a very big receiver and you had to turn the dials one by one to put the entire phone number in. Now we can stay in the comfort of our homes to speak to someone. I have people online from many different countries, people in Australia from different states, people from Jamaica, people from the USA, people from the UK, people from Africa, all in one conversation. Some people are on Zoom, some are on YouTube. Some are watching on their phones, some are on their computers. When I was a child, this was not possible because this idea was not yet materialized. You are designing a vision. You are designing your dreams. You are designing your full life. So you must take that thought from your head. And when you put this on paper, it becomes a reality. All right. So that's our very first key. We've designed your dream. Now, quickly, as we rush along, the next key I want to share with you is about deciding for your dream. It's important for us to have a dream. However, the second key here to have the results that you would love in your life is about deciding. This is about the decisions you are going to make. It comes down to should I pursue this dream or not? Now, you might be asking me, what am I talking about? Right? What I'm saying here, deciding for your dream really means is should I keep the old results that I'm not satisfied with? Or should I decide to go for some new results with this vision that I've just created for my life in the next 3 years? It has been proven that highly successful people are willing to decide for what they would love, even in the absence of knowing how to bring those results about. Yes? So I really would love for you to suspend the how right now. You may not even have the first clue about how this vision is going to come to pass. And to be honest, it's not so important right now because you must first decide that you want this, right? Because some people, they want every single step of the way. They want a 100% dot point action plan. But my dear, this is really not the way life works. Oftentimes, when God gives us a vision or an assignment, He never ever gives us the full blueprint at the same time because we must first agree and accept the assignment before He reveals the how, right? So the key is that you make a firm decision for what you want first. You must decide, I want this before you will bring that dream into reality, right? So let me tell you this. As you embark on your vision, you must consider that this is a sacred invitation from your creator to come into alignment with your divine purpose. And you must reflect on what you would love in order for that purpose to come into alignment. All right? So you must be able to decide first before you get the steps, right? So deciding is about, am I willing? Is this dream worthy? Is this dream something worth pursuing? Is it worth my time and my energy? Does this dream align with who I am as a person? Am I going to have to compromise my standards to pursue this dream? Or do I need help from a higher power? And if you are able to say yes to all of this, it means that you are in the right place because this dream is worthy of you. So, I would love for you to type in the chat, having considered all of this, do you believe that this vision that you've written, is it worthy? Is this worthy of you pursuing it? Type a worthy in the chat. Or a number two, put two in the chat. If you have tested your vision and you believe it is worthy of you, give me a number two in the chat. If it's a no, put a one. All right? Awesome. Wonderful. Wonderful. Put a two in the chat if you believe that what you have written down to describe your vision is worthy to be pursued. All right? Now, great. Now, the third key that I want to share. So, number one was what? Your vision, designing your vision. Number two was deciding for the vision. And the third one is about overcoming a very important obstacle that every person who desires to follow their dream will face. It's about overcoming fear. Yes. You may also hear some of us speak about befriending the fear. But what does this mean? It goes beyond making friends with fear. It is really about recognizing fear as an imposter. Fear is uh, it's like an invisible border security. It is always standing at the edge of your life. It's always there to keep you in your comfort zone. This is what has kept you living in the land of longing and discontent. Fear is that invisible companion that has made you accept or settle for where you are at all this time without stepping out, right? But hear this. I want you to know that you can actually experience fear, but you don't have to let fear have you. Fear does not have to have you. Fear often shows up as an emotional response, right? And sometimes when you are ready to step out of your comfort zone, ready to leave the negativity and the failure behind you, to step out into something, to create something new, fear shows up as a protective mechanism or as an emotion to actually ask you, what do you think you are doing? Where do you think you are going? But hear what Franklin Roosevelt said. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important than fear. That means that you must be able to recognize that, yes, I may feel afraid right now, but this vision that I've created for a life that I would absolutely love, I have decided that I would love to pursue this vision. And it means that to do that, I must be able to step past fear. I should never allow fear to stop me. Napoleon Hill says the value of your decisions depends upon the courage you have to make them. So you must step forth with courage today, my friend. You must decide that I don't care. Fear is saying to me that, oh, I will fail. Fear might be saying to you that I can't do this. But you must be prepared to look fear in the face, right? Yes, you may get to this place in your life, right? As you are deciding, and that other side of you is saying to you, where the fear is rising up, and it is saying, yeah, right. Look at you. The last time you tried to do something, you even flopped. The last time you tried to do this, nobody supported you. Oh, yes. Fear will bring up all of that. And these are thoughts that we call paradigms, right? These are negative thoughts and negative mindset that is an operating system, that is a pattern that we have developed over time, right? And the way we were taught to think, right? Can I see a raise of hand if anyone has ever been here before? Maybe you can give me an emoji in the chat. Yes. Have you been there? Fear might be asking you, where will you find the time to do this new project? You're already swamped. You don't have the money. The last time you tried this, you gave up halfway, right? Where will you get the money from? Etc. etc. But remember, that for you to step forward in courage does not necessarily mean that the fear will disappear. What it means is that you are able to be in charge. You take the driver's seat. And these are some of the ways that these paradigms can show up in your life. Firstly, you may see them manifest in these three ways, whether delay or distraction. And these allow external factor to derail your focus. And this is the place where procrastination live. You know that you want to do this, you felt that prompting, but you feel this, ah, let me do something else first. Let me go wash the clothes. Let me take care. Let me go visit my grandmother first. Or it may be what we call dissuasion. And this is about discouragement, right? Self-sabotage. Sometimes that inner critic can be yourself. You are the one that tells yourself, you begin to second guess yourself. And then the third way can be what we call DEFCON 1, which you are reacting with urgency and panic rather than being very thoughtful and strategic about the way you're doing it. So, yes, you might get up and do it, but you are so distracted and afraid, and you allow everything to overwhelm you. You begin to panic. And so it's really important that we don't allow fear to overwhelm or confuse us. I don't know. Maybe you might be feeling this right now. I would love to give you a quick minute to maybe write down which of these areas, if you are actually facing any of these, if you've experienced the delay or the distraction, the dissuasion or fear, which is that third one where the DEFCON one, write the one of them that you are experiencing in your life, the one that you have had the most challenges with. I want you to write in the chat which of these has been your greatest challenge so far. Now, hear this. The good news here is whenever you see any of these things show up in your life, right? Yes, I can see someone has said number one, delay or distraction. Yes. Someone has said number two, they've experienced that dissuasion or that self-sabotage. For those of you on YouTube, which one are you experiencing issues with? Number one, number two, or number three, right? I want you to type the number that corresponds in the chat, right? The good news is whenever you see this showing up, what it is saying is as you begin to pursue your vision, right? I'm talking about now you've designed a vision for your life that you want to pursue, and you have come to terms with this. As you begin to go forward, these things may show up. You might start to experience that distraction, that procrastination may come. You might begin to self-sabotage yourself, and you begin to start, become your personal critic or other people, family members, or that fear may feel overwhelming. But let me tell you something. Whenever you see this, this is not the time to stop. What this says is, it's that you have now begin to move out of your comfort zone in pursuit of something that is worthy of you. It is an indication that you are on the edge of your breakthrough. Yes, you are on the verge of your breakthrough, right? It's like a blade of grass that is pushing up through concrete. Have you seen that? Somebody has poured concrete. Sometimes you see it on the driveway, nicely paved. And then you see one little blade of grass that is pushing through a little crack. That was a seed that got lost somewhere when they were pouring that concrete. And of all the seeds, it survived. And it decided that there's a lot of darkness under here, but I will seek until I find that spot in this concrete that is weak enough for me to push through so I can find the sun, so I can grow and become the grass that I was meant to be. Many times when we are pursuing our dream, this is exactly what we will have to do. And so you have to look out for them. And when they show up, you might have to say, bring it on, right? Because I am ready to take the world by storm as I lean into my dream. And yes, there may be some days when you feel like, oh, what am I doing? What if I fail? But hear me and hear me well, right? It doesn't mean you have to give up. Because hear what 2 Timothy 1 and verse 7 says. It says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, right? If that resonates with you, I want you to write 1 7 in the chat, okay? So here is where we are up to now. We've decided for our dream. We have crafted a vision. We have decided for our dream, and we have now learned that there are some things that can interrupt our flow. There are things that can interrupt us even as we try to pursue our vision. And what happens is when we do this, when we do this, we know that we don't have to let this overwhelm us. And what do we do? What do we do? How do we kick fear to the curb? The very, very most important thing that you can do is to reconnect with your vision. Remember, this is what I would love, right? When fear comes knocking on your door and wants to discourage you, you go back to your vision and you say, I am so happy and grateful now that, and you read your vision statement and you read it out again and again, and you commit to seeing that vision come through. All right? So remember, you have the power to create a life that you would absolutely love, right? And I would love to see you be able to overcome anything that may stand in your way. No, sorry about that. Look, that's one of my songs that I made earlier this year. Um, it was really a song around just really being able to pursue our vision, pursue our dreams. And, I wanted to just use that song to encourage us today, right? I composed that song um, last year. Now, before I give you my very final tip, as I promised at the beginning of our presentation, I would love to offer you a free gift if you are ready to take action where your dream is concerned. If you really feel like you would love to pursue a dream that you would absolutely love, I want to offer you a free strategy session, a session where you can sit with me for 30 minutes over the phone or on Zoom, where you can get clarity about your dream. Because I know that sometimes people can feel, overwhelmed going through this process of designing the dream, decided for it, and then dealing with the paradigms, the distraction, the, 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 the dissuasion and the fear. All right. So if you would love to experience this, if you're really ready to go to a new level in your life, I would love for you to write free session or just say free in the chat. And I'm going to also drop the link in the chat for you where you can book a free session with me to discuss how you can get some clarity on exactly where you are at right now and how you might be able to get some clarity around what your next steps may be. All right. So please, I'm going to drop in the chat for you now this link that you can use to book a free strategy session with me to get clarity around where you're at and what your next steps might be. I will also share the link to the song in just a moment. Um, I was trying to find it while the song was playing. That's why it was every time I clicked, it was stopping the song. So allow me to just go and get that link for you in just a moment, and I'll put it in the chat for you. So if you are ready to see what next your life could look like, please type ready in the chat for me. All right, great. Absolutely. So I hope everyone has seen the link. I hope everyone has seen the link in the chat. If you have, please let me know that you have found the link. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Now, I hope this workshop has been really helpful. And I want you to feel invited to take up this offer, but you don't have to feel obligated. It's not an obligation. This is for people who are really ready in terms of what my next steps could be. What could I do next to amplify the way I'm going to be showing up for myself? How am I going to sit down and plan and get the help, the support that I need to go to the next level of my life to pursue this vision of a life that you would absolutely love? All right. So remember, This is an invitation if you are ready. You don't need to feel obligated. That's fine. So this session is valued at over 250 US dollars. And some of you know that you are ready to take the next step, to invest in achieving a dream. So you know that your next action could be to book that one-on-one session with me, where we can create a plan where you invest in your next step. You know you are sick and tired of sitting where you're at and this longing that has kept you trapped. All right. The link is there, Veronica. Please look in the chat where you are. Right. Let me try that again. All right. I've dropped it in the chat for you. All right. Great. So let's wrap up. I hope you've been able to find the link. If you have, please just let me know in the chat that you have been able to find the link. All right. On YouTube, those on YouTube, let me know that you've seen the link. Great. Thank you for confirming. Wonderful. All right. So let's recap what we have covered today. When we started our time together today, I said we are producing results currently, whether we love them or not, right? And that we are often pushed by a longing and discontent for something more. We said that we are often pushed by this longing and this discontent for something more, a life that is more in alignment with our purpose, something that makes us come alive, something that makes us become more aligned with our purpose that God has designed for us, right? That's what we said. And we learned that there are three keys that we can actually apply in our lives. Three keys to help us master the results, right? And these are 3 of 10 principles that we shared in our Dream Builder program. And the first key was to design your dream, right? So you have written down somewhere, what is your dream? You've made it very clear. I asked you that you should use clear terms. Write down exactly what you would like. Be clear about it. Be specific, right? So you have written down what you want to achieve, the life you would actually love, and the clearer your blueprint is, the more power you have to achieve it in partnership with your creator. The second thing we did today was to decide for the dream. We looked at the dream and we asked ourselves, is this dream worthy of me? Is it worthy of me spending my life, my time, my energy to pursue this? And you decide that in the absence of knowing how right now, that I would love to pursue this in partnership with God or my higher power. And then the third thing we spoke about is overcoming fear, right? We said fear and failure are stepping stones to our success, and that we know that fear is a constant companion, and we don't have to let fear be in charge of our ship. We are in the driver's seat, and we will kick fear to the curb where it belongs. And we are going to shift our paradigms by reminding ourselves of our dreams and keeping our eyes focused on the vision that we have created for ourselves. Why are we doing this? Because you are worthy of the dream. You are worthy of a life that you love. And so, if you are ready to take action towards your dream, I want you to write yes in full caps in the chat. I am ready to pursue my dreams. Or you can use the emojis or the like button. Please click the like or the art or something, right? As we are lighting up the room and making sure that we are not just sitting down one side, but I want you to know that you are worthy of the life that you would absolutely love to live, right? And there you have it. You have designed a life that you would love to live. And I congratulate you for doing it. Now we have come to the end of my teaching, and I want to open up the lines for questions. Now, for those of you who are online, if you want to join us in the Zoom room, we are here live on Zoom. And so please feel free. If you would like to come in, let me know. You should have been able to get the link at the same place where you got the link to join on YouTube. Alternatively, you can actually type. You can type your question in the chat if you have a question for me. I'd love if you've designed your dream and you wanted to get some feedback on it, you can share it anonymously as well. Um, and I can read it out for you and provide you with some feedback on that. All right. So don't feel shy. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. I'm happy to take any questions you may have about any of the topics we have shared today or anything related to this where you are in your life right now, right? So please feel free. I'm going to stay around for another 5 to 10 minutes. If you have a question here on the Zoom platform, if you would love to ask a question, I'm happy for you to come off mute and share. Or if you would like to just type it in the chat and I can speak, I'd read it out for you anonymously and also provide you with an answer. All right. So please feel free to go ahead and do that right now. All right. I'll pause and give you a second to do that. There is a question here in the chat. There is a question here in the chat. All right. So the question says, can I dream too big that it scares me? Also, how can you tell daydreaming and vision dreaming? You can, yeah, okay. So are you asking, how can you tell the difference between daydreaming and actually vision dreaming? Please just clarify that second part while I go through the answer to your first one. So the first one says, can I dream too big? Or can I dream too big that it scares you? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, you can dream big that it scares you, but that's not a bad thing. Dreaming big to the point where it scares you is actually a good thing. Your vision should be bigger than you. Any vision that is worth pursuing must be something that you need help to perform, right? Or you should be able to grow. It must stretch you. If your vision is something that's going to be worth pursuing, it can't be the same thing you did yesterday that took you 5 minutes or that you've already accomplished. That is why it's called a vision. It's something that should be big enough that it is worthy of your time and your energy and the investment that you have to put inside of it. Otherwise, it doesn't match up. It doesn't live up to its reputation as a vision. So there's a difference between your vision and a goal. The goal can be something that you're going to do, which you may not necessarily need help to achieve. But your vision is big, it should be big enough that when you pursue it, you may need to call in reinforcement. You have to partner with other people. You need help from God. Your vision must be big to the point where it scares you, or to the point where, I mean, it should scare you enough to say that this is worthy enough that I'm going to pursue this, but I also need help from someone. I need help from a partner, from a mentor. Yes. So this is what it's about. Your vision actually should be big enough to make it worthy of pursuit, right? Your vision must be able to match up and align with your core values, those things that are at the core of who you are, the things you believe in that shape your belief system, and the things that matter most to you. Your vision must give you life. That means, yes, it scares me a little bit, but I feel alive at the same time. You know what I mean? When I read this, oh my God, I feel that little fear, but at the same time, I feel excited about it, right? So that kind of fear that you feel should not be the fear that make give you a heart attack. It must be a good kind of fear, like, oh gosh, this is going to cost me a bit to pursue it. But guess what? It will be worth it at the end, because it's going to transform my life into something meaningful, and it's going to satisfy my longing, and it is going to quench my discontent, and I will achieve a life that I would absolutely love. All right. Now, the second part is, how do you tell daydreaming from vision? All right. Before I answer that, can you let me know in the chat if you heard my answer, and if that made sense to you? The second question is, how do you tell daydreaming from vision? How do you distinguish between daydreaming and your vision? Well, some people, well, daydreaming versus vision. You can have, I'll stop sharing, please. You can you can start off with daydreaming. There's nothing wrong. There's actually nothing wrong with daydreaming. Daydreaming is something that we develop as children. It's actually that early form of the way we use our imagination, right? Daydreaming is a very important part of the creativity that God has given to us. So remember when I said through one of my slides that the very first currency that we have is an idea or a thought. The very first thing that we use to create is actually an idea. For children, daydreaming is that part of their creative part of them that is a very symbolic form of that part of us that still relates, that still creates connected with God, right? That's because children, they have pure hearts, pure minds. They are really good at daydreaming. And in a lot of cases, those the daydreams, for people who continue to have those kind of daydreams, right? Imagining things, though, that is an indication that your mind is very open and awake. Now, as a mature adult, that daydreaming matures into something more. It means that you have the capacity to imagine or come up with ideas. Now, this does not necessarily happen in isolation. This kind of dreaming happens when your spirit is actually in tune with the spirit of God, right? And for those who don't believe in that, every one of us has that capacity to become have a higher level of awareness, right? So what happens is daydreaming can transition into this more visioning. That's why in our session, I ask you to imagine what you would love. But that does not just come from a place of just daydreaming. This is you connecting deeply with your desire, your soul. And your soul is where that deep dreaming comes from. So children transition with life experiences, deeper levels of understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, and it becomes rooted in their soul. But remember, the soul is not just this hairy, fairy thing. It's deeply rooted in the core of who we are, which means that your soul is still connected to the one who creates you, which means that you still have some capacity to be able to tap into God's creativity to come up with ideas for new things. So daydreaming is a bit more on the surface. Visioning goes a bit deeper. It takes what would have happened on the surface, maybe in a daydream, or what you may see as a passing thought, and really going deep inside your soul, investing a little bit more depth into it to say, well, I've wanted this for a while. Let me take time to be intentional about thinking about this thought that maybe was just a passing thought in a daydream, and look deeper on this, recognizing that actually this is something that I would actually love. All right. And then you can also filter the thoughts out. This thought came, but it's not in alignment with my vision, with my values. This thought came, but it's not in alignment with the person who I would love to become. I hope this is making sense. I think I'm going really deep in this, but it's just to create a broad understanding that yes, the only difference is one of them is a little bit more on the surface, but it can translate into vision dreaming, right? So there's nothing wrong with daydreaming, but when you becomes dreaming for what you would love, you have to take it a little bit deeper in terms of you become intentional about taking it out of the realm of daydream into the realm of the soul, where you are saying, is this something I would love? And if I would, then what would it look like from a different perspective now that I'm actually looking at it? It's like it's like seeing something in passing. Maybe I like flowers, and I love to go outside in the open spaces. I love to see the insects as they interact with flowers. So it could be a bee or a beetle. I may see one of these on a flower, but they're tiny. So that's like me now taking a magnifying glass, going up to this bee or the beetle on the flower, and having a good look at this beetle. Under my magnifying glass now, I can see, oh, this beetle actually has the black and red color. I can see that the legs are shaped like this. I can see that it has something that we call the proboscis, which is like the antenna or the mouth part at the front. Oh, now that I'm taking a close look at this, I realize that this is an insect that I'm interested in, maybe for, whatever, my research, my collection, for my hobby, etc., etc. Now I'm taking a closer look at it. But I might look at another insect and think, oh, this is not in alignment with the kind of insects that I like. So this insect, it crawls. It doesn't have wings. I'm not interested in a wingless insect, but the ones with wings that have their legs shaped like this, I'm more interested in them. So you're taking a deep look to see, does this align with what I really truly want? Or is this no longer in alignment with what I would love? All right. And so this is my take on the difference between daydreaming and just between just daydreaming and really dreaming of a life that you would love. One of them is more intentional, right? Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. So someone is saying here in the chat is thank it made a lot of sense, and it's very clear. There's a nice link of the soul and the spirit of God and the alignment with our values and what you would love. You are truly gifted. Thank you so much for sharing that. I truly appreciate the comment and the feedback. It really, really is I'm grateful for that. So that brings us to the end of the session. I have not seen any more comments online. I think, yes, they're acknowledging that they've gotten the link to this song, the link to the, oh, I don't think I gave you guys on here the link to the song, right? So there's a whole album up there that the song is connected to. So you may look for them. This song basically is I wrote this song based off Psalm 23. It's a whole album of 14 songs that are based on Psalm 23, and they really speak to, how we can sometimes face mountains and we can become complacent. And this particular song, this particular version of the song is really about, you know, seeing the mountain for what it is, but being able to step out of our comfort zone, going, not just staying in the valley, but being really willing and ready to tackle the mountain and go to the greater purpose that awaits us. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who have joined me today on this chat, on this call. And for those who might be watching this later on, I want to say the links are in the chat. Please feel free to reach out and book us some time for us to have a more private, confidential chat about what your next steps could be. And I'd be more than happy to do that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and hearing from you for when you book your time with us. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you next